MAGA family, I still haven't found anywhere to go for Thanksgiving. I reached out to some people that commented on my post.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, but we're gonna find out.
Welcome to another episode of FAFO, also known as I Didn't Think My Vote Would Directly Affect Me, where Trump supporters are faced with the consequences of their own actions. Now, these MAGA grandparents were cut off by their children over a month ago for how they voted. So they decided to show up unannounced and uninvited, demanding to see their grandchildren. But it looks like it's not working out so well. Well, maybe they could team up with this gentleman, who was also uninvited from all of his family holidays for supporting Trump, and make their own new family traditions. And up next, we have the story of a person who could be considered the human embodiment of F around and find out.
One of my ex-coworkers voted for Trump, and she said she cannot wait for this whole abortion thing to go into plan. It's time for him to weed out the week, and if you can't handle having a kid, then don't sleep with anybody. She is now pregnant by a black man, and her family has removed her from the will. And they have been arguing on Facebook for the past 3 days. And the husband's trying to take the kids. Things are looking up.
Yes, they're definitely looking something. Why is it that too often the people with the loudest opinions tend to be the biggest hypocrites of all? In this next segment of extremely obvious things we should have discussed before the election, this person asks, did I betray my immigrant parents voting for Trump? I think we all know the answer to that. But anyways, they say, I am a first-generation American whose parents were once illegal immigrants. They've long since obtained citizenship. I voted for Trump in a non-swing Democratic state, so my vote was solely to express my belief, which was that Donald Trump would be a strong leader in a seemingly increasingly divisive and hostile world, alongside the idea that he would be proactive in comparison to Kamala, who unfortunately has a rep for not taking much action alongside the Biden administration. Apart from this, I also believe she wasn't ready for the role given what I've seen from interviews, and she was just thrust into a campaign 90 days prior to the elections. Unfortunately, this vote can be seen as choosing a better evil, knowing very well of Trump's character, but regardless deciding he would be the best choice as president. Political views aside, as I know, there are many angles to further debate and evaluate this. Was a vote for Trump a betrayal to my family? I've recently read an article about how doing so under my circumstances would be considered as so, and I'm feeling heavily guilty. Regardless, I want to know the consensus. And I think everyone can agree that no Sherlock. Oh, and now we're reading articles after the fact. It's hilarious that he would think that a felon, a rapist, and a crook would be a better representation for the American people than, say, a lifelong public servant whose intelligence led her to one of the highest and most difficult roles to get in the entire country. Just say that you don't like women, bro. Just say it, because I'm tired of all these people feigning ignorance when they knew exactly what they were doing. Isn't it so interesting how all of these people with the intent to harm others end up doing harm to themselves? Apparently, people are breaking down on TikTok because they just realized Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act. The heartbreaking part, so many have pre-existing conditions. One man admitted he voted for Trump without knowing it was Obamacare that allowed his mother with stage 4 cancer to get treatment. This is what happens when misinformation wins over facts.
Y'all telling me y'all was using Obamacare as an insult and didn't know you was on that shit? What they be saying? That's rich.
Over on Truth Social, the conservative social media app, users are also making some huge discoveries. Real MAGA Patriot says, wait, China doesn't pay the tariffs? Just phenomenal.
Remember a few weeks ago, I told you about how I have a student who, after the debate, was telling me he's very like, Trump, yeah. Well, that kid is, in fact, over 18 years old and a legal citizen and did, in fact, vote and has self-reported that he voted for Trump. After the election, he didn't come to school for several days and was really quiet, really withdrawn. Finally, the kid starts opening up. I'm like, what's going on? Where have you been, friend? Like, what's up? He's really sad, very quiet. He's like, Trump wants to deport everyone who's illegal. I was like, yeah, that's like literally his thing. He's like, my parents are illegal. I'm like, yeah, I knew that. Did you not know that? He's like, my parents are scared. I'm like, no shit. He's like, well, my girlfriend's also illegal. I'm like, did you not know that too? How do I know these things about your family, but you don't know these old things about your family? First of all, yeah, so his girlfriend and her parents and his parents have all gone into hiding because they're terrified that they're going to get deported. And this kid is now with basically without like a mom who could really be there. Dad has already left the country, and girlfriend is like traumatized, and he's just baffled by all of this. He's just baffled by all this. Can you believe all this? FAFO, bro.
I've got nothing. I've got no jokes for this. I am deeply concerned about the lack of critical thinking in the newest generations of these young men. Remember when Trump said they're eating the cats and eating the dogs? Well, like the last kid's dad, the Haitian migrants Trump was talking about said, "You don't have to tell me twice," and have expeditiously been getting the out of Springfield, Ohio in droves, which is great for them, but detrimental to the town and local economy as well as other states. According to an article in The Guardian, Haitian immigrants filled thousands of jobs at the area packaging and auto plants, which has completely rejuvenated the local area, including a plethora of Haitian restaurants that source foods from other states. A tax expert who serves the Haitian community in the area said, "I pay thousands of dollars in income and property taxes every year, and because I work with Haitians, I see their W-2s and so on. If these people leave, that money is gone from the city and the local economy. That's because the jobs the Haitian community were doing are gruesome jobs that many Americans don't want to work, but Haitians are hard workers. They were willing to get up every day and do the work. But ever since Trump and J.D. Couch started that cats and dogs nonsense, Haitians have split and left the locals without anyone to do those thousands of jobs, wreaking havoc on their fragile economy." Well, thoughts and tariffs, I guess. Shop my line below. On the Reddit thread, Boomers Being Fools, this poster says, "My boomer grandparents don't believe that Trump appointed Dr. Oz." Literally just went around and around with my boomer grandparents on this. I mentioned casually that Trump appointed Dr. Oz, and they started freaking out about how that couldn't possibly be true, and it's got to be fake news. I couldn't get it through their heads that it's just a fact and not fake news. These are the same people that believe anything negative that Trump says must be AI or fake news. But they believe everything they hear about Kamala, whose name my grandparents refuse to even pronounce right. I showed them all there was about it, and they think that all the news outlets are putting it out as fake news. Oh yeah, and these are the same boomers that voted for Trump knowing he might deport my immigrant dad. Are they all this stupid? Sorry for the rant, but it's just enormously frustrating, especially since I live with them and they pay my college tuition. Sorry, bruv. I mean, there is a chance that they could also just be bigots.
Why has this been laughing for like every minute?
Yeah, we are so
Good family friend, works as a teacher in a local school district, and as a special education teacher. Diehard Trump fan, voted for Trump, was beating her chest all about it. Mid-30s, she actually just got this job a couple of years ago and was very excited about the opportunity. But what she didn't realize for some reason, and just recently found out yesterday, in fact, was that her position is 100% funded by a federal grant from the OSEP program. Yeah, OSEP is Office of Special Education. It's a division of the U.S. Department of Education, and they provide federal funding in the form of grants to assist in local communities, ensuring that they have proper coverage, if you will, and funding for special education needs. This lady's job is 100% funded by that office. So the find out hasn't been 100% realized, but this lady is scared because now all of a sudden she does care about the Department of Education and she does appreciate it. She flat out said that she didn't know that, and if she had, maybe she might not have voted for Trump. The reason she says that is because she knows and believes that Trump is, in fact, going after the Department of Education. She didn't think it affected her, so she didn't give a fuck. She gives a fuck now. So I don't want to laugh at the lady. It sucks. But at the same time, MAGA.
Now, you know how you can tell that a Trump supporter chose him because of his sexism and his bigotry? Well, this lady is a really good example of that because there were issues that directly affected her and she had no idea about them. But oh, now she's shocked and looking into it more. Everybody can't be saved, folks. In other news, California Governor Gavin Newsom, who some Californians refer to as Daddy Gaby, is strategically using Donald Trump's own policies to punish Elon Musk. Donald Trump has recently proposed that he will be rolling back the $7,500 tax incentive on electric vehicles to please his big oil donors. So in response to Trump, Daddy Gaby has stated he will be reboosting the tax incentive on all electric vehicles, except for Tesla. This means that if someone in California wants to purchase an electric vehicle, they will receive the $7,500 tax credit unless they purchase a Tesla, which likely means they will see a decline in sales of Teslas in California. The only thing these people care about is money, and Daddy Gaby is hitting them where it hurts the most. It's a proud day to be a Californian. On Reddit, this user says, "Am I the a-hole for calling off my engagement after my partner revealed he is MAGA? My fiance and I have been together since 2013 when we met in college. He struggled to get a well-paying job, and during his long bouts of unemployment must have been radicalized to blame everyone else. I chalked it up to depression and tried to get him help and therapy. I paid for him to return to school and to become a nurse too, but he has still not completed the prereqs after 7 years. He currently works gig jobs while I am a nurse in California, making close to $400K a year and a part-time job. I was hoping to save up enough to not have to work after having a baby since I cannot rely on him. We were planning to get married next year and wanted to try for a baby. He knows I'm very liberal and all about women's rights. He never openly expressed his support for MAGA itself until after Trump won and said Trump will help the economy and finally allow him to get a good job. I told him that it was the easiest time to get a job in the past 20 years in 2021, yet he couldn't. I'm not giving into the sunken cost fallacy and staying in this relationship. He has made offhand comments before about women losing their worth as they get older, and when I questioned him about it, he said it was a joke. The past week has been miserable listening to him talk nonstop about how great Trump is and how he will turn everything great again. I had it and gave him notice to leave by the end of the month, and we are through. He said it's unfair and told me it's stupid to give up on us over just politics. The very fact he said that solidified the notion that he is so clueless and our values are too different. He will likely have to move back into his parents' home or be homeless since he makes less than $35K a year in the most expensive region in the USA. Am I the a-hole for throwing away my relationship of 11 years over politics? I wish politics were boring again. Don't we all wish politics were boring again? I never thought I'd miss the John McCain days. I mean, despite the whole MAGA thing, this woman needed to get rid of that bum. Has been making a livable wage since they've been together. And she's making almost $500,000 a year and basically fully supporting his life on her own. I can't believe it even got as far as them being engaged, frankly. But I'm so glad that he showed his ass and that this woman was finally able to get some backbone and see him properly after the election. Thanks in part due to the election. And if there's a silver lining in any of this, it's that a lot of people have shown themselves for who they are, and it's our responsibility to believe them.
I'm going to say the uncomfortable part out loud. The Germans who supported Hitler in the beginning are these same Germans who turned in their neighbors. It is a matter of safety that you cut these people out of your life. It's not just morals. Speaking as someone who has loudly dissented all over the internet for the last 8 years, I'm not wasting a fucking calorie questioning whether or not you're going to turn me or my friends in. You're out.
So there is one last update. She says, last night he threatened to take his own life when the gravity of the situation hit him. His mother is babysitting him at her house to avoid a 5150 while I work. His father is packing up his belongings and will move them out of my house by the end of the week. It is over. I am letting him be MAGA. I cannot support someone who supports a rapist, pedophile, felon, etc., and who wants to take away my rights. He knows I'm a sexual assault victim. Majority of our friends are cutting ties with him after they learned of the reason for the breakup. Luckily, his parents are extremely left, even by my standards, so he may get a better balance on news instead of just the conservative forums he frequents. People grow up and grow apart. One can break up for any reason or no reason at all. I simply asked if I was the a-hole to do it, not if it was right or wrong. Men are justified for breaking up with women if she gets fat, but if the woman breaks up over moral differences, it's wrong? These double standards are hilarious. But yeah, of course he cued the dramatics when he realized that his meal ticket was out the window. This relationship probably should not have lasted once they graduated from college, but at least she's finally free. Onwards and upwards. And hopefully to someone with full-time employment. My Concepts of Condolences shop is linked below. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and make sure to click the little bell so you can be notified whenever I post a new video.
To all the white people who don't consider themselves racist, you are, unfortunately, a large part of why racism persists. When you say nothing, you are complicit. Excusing racist behavior by saying your grandparents were born in a different time or that's just how they were raised does not absolve you. It makes you just as culpable. I literally saw a video on TikTok of a young white woman who went through photos of her grandmother and found her grandmother dressed as a Klansman. That young white woman laughed like it was the funniest thing since Richard Pryor. White people need to hold each other accountable and enforce consequences. Racist grandmother? Cut her off. Racist sibling? Cut them off. Racist best friend since childhood? Cut them off. The racist grandmother on her deathbed who wants to see you one last time? Don't fulfill that request. That racist father who hates that you married a black man but wants to know your children? Don't expose them to that hate. That friend who's getting married but won't let you bring your black or person of color significant other because they're marrying into a racist family? Don't go to that wedding. Racism needs consequences.